Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching and the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channels. Obviously, this is Pro Wrestling Logic, where you are. We've got over 1,500 audios available, and we are going to be starting an independent series as well. Independent series is just because I need a break from watching really badly booked wrestling that is provided by many of the options here. And although the wrestling may not be as crisp on the independents, at least it's enjoyable to watch. This is the May 18th, 2010 version of NXT, and ultimately this kind of goes into some more kind of pushing towards the finale of the first, I guess you'd say, round of the show. I wouldn't necessarily call it seasons, but CM Punk is out there, and he's actually all the pros are out there, kind of hyping who they believe is going to get eliminated, talking about everybody believing that you need to have the it factor. The general consensus around the whole idea is that they believe that you need physical prowess, but more than that, an it factor of making you want to pay to see the person. Darren Young out next with a less than stellar record per se. Wade Barrett is his opponent. He's, I guess, 7-3. Some wonder and run of that going forward. Young and Barrett. Barrett obviously has been pushed primarily on the show as I don't know that I'd say the best of the bunch, but they'd also been teasing some desire to fight between the two. I mean, it takes 12 minutes to get the match in the ring. There's a lot of hype and extra talking. Leg sweep by Barrett. Barrett goes right after Young. Young, who had been, kind of the underdog, has been put over the last several weeks. Eliminations forthcoming and continuing to do as such are here. And I mean, ultimately, it leads to Wade Barrett with a big running kick. He gets all he can out of the kick. Not exactly the best of situations. Chris Jericho at ringside with him along the way. Punk less conspicuous or less involved with his pro than Jericho is with his. Although, if you look at Barrett in legitimate terms, I'm sure that Barrett had more of an upside in terms of being pushed. Big body slam attempted and, kind of rolled through by none other than Darren Young. Basic stuff. Jericho really animated on the outside, adding to the idea that Barrett should be handling him quicker. Pump kick and basic stuff by Young, who doesn't exactly get all he wants, but we see the forward drop by Barrett, and again, he gets things going and falls right back into a cover, gets a pinfall and a victory there. Kind of some teasing. David Otunga says he's tired of being overlooked in his promo for the week. And again, they're kind of talking about eliminating people and all of that. What follows is Michael Tarver basically being told that he was instructed to stand out, be different, and do exactly whatever he needs to do in order to get a victory. There's also a vignette of, in fact, Truth kind of talking about Otunga being hard to handle and kind of hard to mentor. Needless to say, Tarver is annoyed in his interview where he kind of talks about the competition not being fair. Daniel Bryan also back after being eliminated, basically saying that everyone, including all the pros, knew that he belonged. He's tired of being interrupted by Matt Striker as the announcer. He's tired of being undervalued. He's also tired of being put down continually by Michael Cole, mentioning that Cole has none other than Vince McMahon in his ear, and he's sick of that. He's sick of Cole putting him under the bus. Kind of doing a smart fan storyline, which I don't necessarily... On one hand, this was primarily a show geared towards internet fans. On the other hand, him getting into it with Michael Cole, I'm not necessarily sure, is the best of angles. Justin Gabriel, 5-3 record. He's your South African contingent here with pro Matt Hardy. Getting in the ring with Heath Slater. Slater's 5-4. Slater, I think, had more of an upside at the time in the way he'd been portrayed, although they kind of cooled off a little bit on Justin Gabriel by this point. Both the pros are out there. Christian and Matt Hardy, oddly enough, all these years later, 11 years later, still in AEW. Michael Cole gets annoyed with nearly being assaulted and the like. Um, Kick catch by none other than the run that is Heath Slater. Slater catches Gabriel coming after him with a dive over the top ropes pretty quickly. Cannot get the victory on him though. Tries to tie him up. Christian is actually of the pros in terms of looking like legitimately in his man's corner. Probably the best of the bunch. Several roll-up attempts by Heath Slater. Slater, certainly not the best of athletes, but having a lot of extra charisma. Gabriel gets the match going back his way, hits the 450 splash, and gets the, I guess you would say, surprise victory for the way things go early. Matt Hardy is happy with this. The other pros on the stage writing notes, or so it appears. And then, Skip Sheffield basically says, much like Survivor, he was eliminated early because he was the largest and most menacing of potential combatants that were here. He is certainly not willing to take a backward step under any circumstances that way. More hype for the Raw brand as we kind of go back into that area of hyping the show. I mean, literally 5 to 15 minutes out every week is wasted on hype of that show. And again, if that show were any good, wouldn't people be tuning into it that they don't need to hype things? Some talk about, again, as mentioned before, pros talking about the arrogance of David Otunga is pretty well here. And, we go for another talk of elimination, and Darren Young gets eliminated this week. Young says he has respect for all the pros. He's not going to stand up there and whine. I don't know where this was going, especially with the angle that comes out of it, but him saying he has respect for all the pros is kind of interesting. So you're kind of down to the final, final four in this particular scenario, but that will close us for today. We'll be back with more right after this.